I'm sorry, I couldn't do it with a straight face.
That's okay.
Hello, I'm Andrew Walker. I'm an 18-year-old freshman here at Hope College. I'm from Greenville, North Carolina, but I spent most of my life living just outside of Cleveland, and I've lived with Marfan syndrome for about 6 years. When I was young, I was relatively social. Most people would go outside and play, whereas I would sit inside and I would binge read encyclopedias and dictionaries as my idea of a fun weekend. The thing that got me into magic was when I was 12, I had to get a knee operation, and it meant that I had to spend about 4 months just unable to stand or walk. So during that time, I started teaching myself how to do card tricks. I started learning a little bit of mentalism. I got very good at sleight of hand, just so I would have something to do to pass the time that wouldn't require me to stare at a screen all day.
Marfan syndrome is kind of like a slow burn. Most people who have it are double jointed everywhere, very lanky, weird arm to leg proportions, things like that. And then as you mature, you start to develop, normally starts with connective tissue breakdown in the joints. Specifically, for me, it started in my knee. Marfan's is very rare. There's only been about 200,000 reported cases in the United States in the last 10 years, which is not a lot. Some of the daily symptoms of Marfan's I have to deal with is I normally have to wake up incredibly early because for the first few hours of the day, my joints just don't like to move anymore. So if I have to get up and go to classes by 8, that means I have to wake up at 5:30 in order for my legs to be able to move enough for me to get out of bed and get into my wheelchair and do my daily tasks. Marfan's also can cause some serious issues with the heart, and I have a very severe heart murmur. I get palpitations. I get short of breath very easily, even if I've not done anything. I now use a wheelchair to help me get around campus. It makes it so I don't have to worry about my joints locking up as much, moving from place to place. And when I'm not using the wheelchair, I'm using my cane, which helps me transition into the wheelchair, out of the wheelchair, and do daily things that I can't do in a wheelchair. The more you use specific joints, the worse they'll become over time. So I found myself having to decrease the things I used to do for fun. So magic went from I would do a performance every other week to once or twice a month, maybe. I ended up choosing Hope partially at the suggestion of my dentist. He went to Hope, his wife went to Hope, their daughters came here, and he said I should at least check it out. And I came here and I just loved it. When I visited other schools, I was almost treated like I was an anomaly, or just like I wasn't treated the same as like a normal visitor or a normal student to be. Where at Hope, it felt like I wasn't there in a wheelchair, or I wasn't there in like with a cane or anything. It felt like I was just a normal person applying to a normal school. And as much as I love Hope College, which is a lot, it's not perfect, especially given the context of handicap accessibility. Because Hope, despite it being some of the parts are more updated, a lot of the buildings are on the older side, which means they're not very handicap accessible. As my life and my health has changed so much over time, I've tried my best to keep magic still a part of my life, even though I don't perform it anymore. I'm kind of retired, but I always carry around a deck of cards with me at all times. The whole magic concept, especially like deck of cards as a whole, it's become almost a calming thing for me. And sometimes when I'm stressed out for whatever reason, I'll just pull out my deck of cards, I'll shuffle, I'll do tricks to myself, just to kind of remind me of a better time. Looking forward to the future, I have some things I want to do. I'm studying physics here because I actually want to teach physics as a professor down the line. As far as magic in context to my future, I plan on trying to find a way to reincorporate it back into my life, whether it's just messing around in the cafeteria with some playing cards, or maybe doing something here at the Hope Coffee House events and such. I want to try and bring it back into my life so I can not just have to shuffle cards to remember the good memories, but to use those cards to make more good memories. Even though Marfan's limits your lifespan to a degree, I'm determined that in the future I'm going to not let that hold me back. I'm not going to cower in a corner in fear of what is happening to me. I'm going to go out there and take advantage of the life I have. I'm going to always make sure I enjoy life first and foremost.